Ukraine's Zelensky plans to meet Trump today for talks on ending the Russian war. Joining us to discuss is Kervin O'Quinn, former lead intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance coordinator for the U.S. Army. So, Kervin, good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us, as always. So the biggest thing on my mind is, and maybe you can comment, should Ukraine give up territory?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. A merry belated Christmas and hopefully a future happy, peaceful New Year. I will say I can't speak for the Ukrainians. I think that having them vote is a bold move. I think it's something that could work for Ukraine on having the people vote on if they want, especially the Donbass region, split in the current fighting positions and currently who holds those positions right now. But I would say, as I said, it's a bold move because who is going to vote, right? We've got annexed regions of Ukraine that Ukraine does not identify as Russian, but Russia identifies those lands as Russian land. So are they going to get to vote? We saw what happened whenever they were able to vote in the Reformation or the referendum to become a part of Russia. They were voting at gunpoint. Is that going to be something that happens again? And is Russia going to do their usual tactics of cyber warfare, of misinformation, to get people to vote the way that they want? So ultimately, up to the Ukrainian people. They have a leader who is going to have to decide on this, and I think he is going to have to make that decision on whether they want peace or they want to continue the fight for that land, because those are the only two options right now.
Do you think Russia has more leverage in these peace negotiations compared to Ukraine?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think every day, every winter evening that the power goes out in Ukraine, Russia gains more leverage in the negotiations. And this is their power play. This is what Putin is doing. He's done this every winter since this war began. And that is to freeze out the Ukrainians, to force them into agreeing to a peace deal on Russia's terms. Russia wants to come to the negotiating table, not in good faith, but with the power that they control this conflict.
So you're saying that Russia has more leverage, but President Trump has said that Russia also wants an end to the peace deal. So I'm thinking here, can you just comment on, in your view, does Russia want peace more, a peace deal, or seeing its campaign to the end more?
Well, look, Putin in early spring of this year told his military leaders that he wants an off-ramp up from this conflict in 2026. Now, my analytical mind was thinking this is, in fact, a conversation and an agreement that he had with Xi Jinping with the Chinese Communist Party, that China would then begin their move on Taiwan. And so Russia would need to stop this bloody war so that now China can focus on Taiwan with the help of Russia. And look, Putin made a mistake early on in this war. He initially thought that the Ukrainian resolve would be weak, and he made a push for Kyiv early in this conflict. He did not get Kyiv, which meant he did not get all of Ukraine. That was a miscalculation, and that's what led to 4 years of bloody conflict right now.
Okay, I'm thinking ahead now. If we do get a peace agreement, what's stopping Russia from doing something similar again in the future?
Absolutely, and that is going through the minds of every Ukrainian, and it is absolutely going through the mind of President Zelensky. Now, there are two parts of this in Zelensky's mind. One is that what is going to stop Putin from doing this again? That is those NATO, the Article 5 style guarantees. So a guarantee that if Russia invades again, that Europe and the United States, 5, 10, 15 years down the line, will come to support Ukraine, but not just support them with munitions and intelligence, but with boots on the ground in defending against Russian aggression. Now, the second thing that's probably at the top of Zelensky's mind is his life is at stake, right? So if the peace deal holds and elections 6 months from that ceasefire happens, and he is no longer elected president, if a Russian plant is then elected due to misinformation from the Russian Federation, what does that mean for Zelensky's safety? So he is playing with all of those at the top of his mind. And I do hope, I really do hope that he can explain that to President Trump and that President Trump understands where he is coming from.
Okay, Kervin, you said earlier that Russia maybe underestimated or miscalculated Ukraine's resolve at the beginning of this war. Can you speak to us about what has been the cost of this war to Russia? And do you think the cost itself might potentially act as a deterrent from Russia doing something similar again?
So it's a great question. It's something that analysts from all over within U.S. intelligence, within British intelligence, have debated this subject. Some of the analysts that I respect very much, who've followed this conflict from the very beginning, in fact, say that Russia, even with all the sanctions and selling oil at the cheapest price that they can sell it, they are still in a wartime economy, meaning that the war is funding the country at this moment. So if the war ends and there is no more push to expand their military, then the economy of Russia collapses. I kind of go on both sides of this one. They are in a wartime economy, but if they can stop this war and focus on if they can get the sanctions pushed off of their backs, and they can focus on reindustrializing Russia, they may be able to survive this. And China's going to be a key player in that as well. Will China be able to sustain and prop up the Russian economy if they help in a future conflict in the Indo-Pacific?
Okay, Kervin, we just have a little bit of time left, and I wanted to take that time to ask your comments on something else, and that is the U.S.'s strike on ISIS in Nigeria. President Trump has framed this as sort of protecting Christians, right? Can we get your overall reactions to what has transpired on this front?
Yeah, look, I think we all knew this was coming. If you didn't know it was coming, you didn't see the Truth Social remarks in late November. Christmas, it's a symbolic day. It's a Christian holiday. So, right, I think everyone knew that if it was going to take place, that would have been the day that it was going to take place. Now, are Christians being persecuted in Nigeria? The data says that it's unclear, but are Christians dying in mass numbers in Nigeria? Absolutely. Look, half of the country, and I believe it's like 47% are Christian and just over 50 are Muslim, but it's almost a 50-50 split between Muslims and Christians. And a majority of Christians are being murdered, but this is more tribal and sort of killings for resources in the area. But the Trump administration has made the decision that they are going to use that to project power in the region, to say, hey, Nigeria. And look, we're hearing now, right, that Nigeria was part of this plan. This is all something that Secretary Pete Hegseth has said. Countries need to be involved in their own security. The United States is not going to do that for them alone. And it looks like both in a partner aspect that Nigeria and the United States did this together. And so I think they can both champion that. Look, we both were able to kill or were to take out terrorists in Nigeria. That is really what happened. ISIS terrorists in Nigeria are no longer able to freely roam that region.
Well, all right, Kervin, I always say this, but it's great to speak with you. And if I don't see you again until 2026, I just wanted to wish you Happy New Year ahead of time. Thank you so much.
The feeling is so mutual, and please, yes, have a safe and productive early 2026 if I don't see you again. And as always, stay safe out there.
All right. Thank you.